In South Africa, most first-time home buyers are purchasing their properties without a deposit, which means we're buying with 100% bond. Hi, I'm Sebolelo, aka Sebolelo the estate agent, and welcome to the channel where we discuss all things real estate for first-time home buyers and first-time homeowners. Buying with 100% bond makes a lot of sense for first-time home buyers because often coming up with the money for the transfer costs can already seem quite daunting, and delaying the gratification of saving up for longer to be able to come up with a big deposit can seem like quite a big task to ask. I mean, to look at a property of 1.2 million, to come up with the transfer costs for that, you're looking at about 70 to 80,000 rand. And that amount escalates even faster for a property above 1.21 million, because then we start adding in transfer duty on top of the initiation costs. By the bank giving us these 100% bonds and above, it accelerates our chances of becoming homeowners. And of course, for the bank, they, make more business out of us, in the sense that there are more of us that are able to qualify for bonds. So don't, assume that the bank is doing us a favor here. There's definitely a lot of incentives for them, because the more of us that qualify to get bonds, the more money they make. While it really does work in our favor to get 100% bond, there certainly is a lot of advantages of putting down a deposit. One of them being, and I really hate to mention this, but it is an advantage, so I must say it, it breaks down the barrier to entry. If you are qualified for R1 million and you've saved up 10% deposit, which is 100,000 rand, you are shopping and you see your ultimate home. It's got all the bells and whistles. It is everything you've ever dreamed of and more. However, it's 1,080,000 rand. Because you've saved up this 100,000, you can top up and you can get access and take advantage of this, this house that your ultimate dream home, right? Whereas somebody who hasn't saved up for their deposit will not be able to take advantage of this opportunity. Like I'm saying, it is an advantage, but I don't really want you to use it. I want you to stick to a budget, because ultimately that's what we want to do. But like I'm saying, it is the reality of having saved up for a deposit. It is something that you can take advantage of. So I do need to mention it in this video. I have recorded a video explaining the importance of budgeting when buying a property. I have added the link in the description, and I will also put in a link at the end of this video, so you'll be able to automatically be able to check that out once we're done here. Before we get on to the benefits that I do like, I want to tell you what inspired this video by sharing a comment that I saw on TikTok. It says, does a deposit make a difference? I paid 30% deposit for a 1.2 million rand apartment. So what he's saying is that he put down 30% deposit on the 1.2, so the bond amount was 730,000. The interest rate is irrelevant. Can you please explain, how does the high deposit help? Advantage number one is reduced premiums. If two people are buying a property of R1 million, one is buying with 100% bond, the other is buying with a 90% bond, meaning they've got a 10% deposit. The one with the deposit is going to be paying a lower premium because the loan amount is lower. Having lower monthly fees means you pay lower over the term. Number three, your initiation costs will be lower. Remember that part of the cost that you pay upfront is the transferring attorney to pay for the transferring of the property, and then the bond attorneys to register the bond. So the higher the bond amount, the higher the fee. So if you decide you're going to put down a deposit on your property, it's going to lower the cost that you are going to pay upfront for initiation. If you put down a deposit, you'll also pay less interest. If you've got a bond of R1 million over 20 years at an interest rate of 11%, you are going to pay 10,390 rand every month. Now, say you put down a 10% deposit, which is 100,000, then your bond repayment is going to be 9,360. The difference being 1,030 rand, which will end up looking like 250,000 rand over the 20-year period. One of the benefits you might not know is if you put down a deposit, you're more likely to get an attractive interest rate from the bank. If you've reached this far in the video, I'm going to assume it's because you found the content useful. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of your game as I regularly give tips on how to get more bang for your buck when it comes to your bond. Remember that the interest rate that you get from the bank is in direct proportion to your risk. If you haven't been paying your creditors well, the bank doesn't know if they can trust you, so they're more likely to give you a high interest rate. If you are able to come up with a deposit, it's a sign that you can manage your money and the bank will be able to trust you, thus they can give you a good interest rate. When you put down a deposit, you're also less of a risk because of the value of your property. If you should ever default on a bond, any bond, the bank has the right to come and repossess the property and auction it off in order to reclaim the funds to claim back what you owe. If you've got a property that is worth $1 million, but you only own 900,000 on it, the bank knows they'll be able to recoup their money. So because once again you're less of a risk, you're likely to get a good interest rate. So there are some excellent reasons for you to save up and come up with a deposit before purchasing your property.